Are we live again? All good? Wait, this is our chat. I really need to manage what I'm showing on screen. I probably should restart the computer every time I'm going live. I'm gonna get myself in trouble someday. Uh, uh-huh, uh-huh. That's weird. Anyway, okay. Okay. Back. So let's see what we have. Okay, guys, so we're going through level 2 and level 3 spells again. Well, we did go through level 2 spells, but I want to make a change, first of all. I want to make a pretty important change. Effectively, what I want to change is move this darkness to godlike tier. I know that there's alternative ways of getting it, but even as such, this is really good. So I think darkness is godlike tier. And I was thinking whether in large read you should go to S tier because of all the potentials that it unlocks. Like, if a build can be made around the spell, it probably means that it's really good, right? Maybe even Warding Bond should go up. Lesser Restoration is okay. Knock. Pair of Healings. Is someone talking in the chat, by the way? Oh. Let me see. Okay. Nobody talking in the chat. It's just me, myself, and I. So, I want to move darkness to godlike tier. And I was thinking of moving Enthrall into garbage tier. And these are okay. I also, it's a concentration spell. Yeah, but it can win you the game, right? Which can be replaced with Darkness Arrow, so it's replaceable. True, you're right about that. It is very replaceable. So move it to S just because potions exist. A tier? No, it's not A tier. In no way it's A tier. Darkness is not A tier. I mean, you can make a build around darkness and you can win the game by just staying in darkness. So it's effectively Sanctuary with concentration, right? Think about it, but it's for your entire party. Sanctuary for concentration, but it takes your entire party. So if you think about it that way, I think it's really good. And I'll keep it as godlike. Is it better than Spike Growth? Conceivably, right? I think it can be better than Spike Growth. Is it better than Misty Step? It's similar to Misty Step. Is it better than Invisibility? Well, Invisibility can win you fights, so Pretty much. Is it better than hold person? Well, hold person has a save on the enemy. Darkness doesn't have a save, right? Enhance abilities, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit better, I think. Is it better than aid? But again, you have to be playing a specific build for it to be godlike. So not everything is godlike for it, right? Yeah, I think this is my final level 2. Level 2 tier list. Should we record? Okay. Starting. I haven't played the game for so long. It feels like I'm losing my touch on the game. But I was thinking about it today. And I think there is a way to throw 8 fireballs in one turn. And I want to try it. 8 fireballs one turn. This is not... You never had it anyway? Oh shit! No. I can theorize pretty well. My problem is... my problem is playing. Because... Ooh, was that a rat? Also, spoiler, right? Massive spoiler right there. Ba, 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 ba. Da, 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 da. Wait, I have mods on. I need to remove the mods. So how was your week until I get ready? Talk to me about your week. Oh my god. All items. We actually want those. Lethal AI, sure. All over the place. So what does that mean? Immersive AI. Okay, so spells is out, so I didn't have to restart the game. Also, I was thinking of doing something. Let me show you. Something like, okay, garbage can. See-through images. Yes. Getting this image of a can, then coming to this. So this is where I make my thumbnails, right? And instead of having it this way, right, I would do something like downloads. What is this abomination? Wait a minute. We need to crop. So I want to make spells be inside there, right? So I think in order to do that, I need to do something like this edit. So erase. We need to go in a micro level, I think. And do something. I'm not certain. Let's see what happens. Oh shit, I removed everything. Okay. So effectively, I want to use a trash can that you can see inside so that I can throw spells inside the trash can for the thumbnail. Do you get what I'm saying? Oh, okay, so this works. This works. This is really good. So this can be something like so we can use this as a background, right? So layer, go back. And then we have the other bin on top of it, something like that. And then we add spells inside. Now we can just, yeah, remove that and just give a white background, right? Right, so we could have like a huge garbage can that we can also make like into a more visible color, right? We can have white background and then just put spells in and be like, oh yeah, these spells are trash. So that would be like fun to have on the, but obviously it needs to look a bit better, right? But I like this. So it's either this, oh, this works too, right? Because you can still see them in the bin. So which trash can do you prefer, A or B? I think A is better, right? Yeah, this is a better trash can. This one. Okay. Okay, so we got that through. We got that down. So shall we do the recording of all the spells? Let me know if I forget something, and then we'll move on to level 3. Because I want to get the recordings out as well. I don't want to... Aslock. All items to KSP. Yeah, that works. That works really good for me. That save is a pretty good save because I have a level 2 character that has 2000 sorcery points. So I can just make a few spell slots and I can just spam spells. So you like the trash can, right? And then I can do this. Let me show you. Final thing. So we can find the Deva. Let me find Deva. Where is Deva? It must be around here. Am I blind? Here it is. Okay, and I can do this. And rotate it and put it in the bin. This is like the ultimate clickbait thumbnail, right? A hot guy in the trash can. You could even like multiply them and have many of them in there. Okay, I'm having too much fun. I need to focus. Would you click on that? Anyway. I'll keep it. Okay. What is this king status? Avatar. So effectively the way the game is set, you're effectively the avatar of a god, right? Okay, I think we have enough level 2 spell slots, right? So all we need is level 2 spells. So let's get the volume down and we're ready to record. So I have about an hour and a half. So this is important. We have to get down the recording first try. So I'm gonna copy, paste. What? What? Okay, that's weird. So I'm gonna have the thing on the side, on my side, and then I'm gonna, as I talk about it. I know it's a little bit cheating, but I don't want to mess up. So now I have to put them down again in order. Okay, so it's 8. What else starts with A? Nothing else. Then it's B. Okay, so this is C, D, C. Is cloud first or crown first? Blindness. Dark. Vision is after ness. Vision is after ness. So it's visionness. Then we also have de, e, ka, ba, ble, arc. Wait, I, K, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T. Yeah. Good. I know my English. Good, 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 good. Bra. Bra is after ble, but and blue. Yes, bra is after ble and blue. N is and h is before and through. Next level tier listing. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, G, H. Where is the G? G, H, G, H, E, and H and large and thrall. B, C, D, E, F, G, H, hit. Knocking on heaven's door. Can see D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, K, L. Everything. O, P, O, P, O, P, P. Wait, why is the text house here? K, L, M, N, O, K, L, M, L, M, my, and mu, and ma and mi. Mis is after mir. Sko kelmen o p pass. B C D F G H I J kelmen o p q a b c d e f g h I j k l m. Bro, I feel like I'm autistic right now. Everything K L M N O P Q R A B C D E F F G. Okay, so we have a lot of S's and a W, and we're good. So let's do wording bond. So let's put those last. Wording and verb. Und verb. Ja, ja. C, 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 S, 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 K, L, K, L, fla, sphere or sort. Fla sphere is better. Yep. You have sp, okay, so let's go in order now. Let's finish with a P, fa, pra, okay, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, Q, R, S, Q, R, S. So we have R and then we have S. Okay, so all the S's are left now. So we have S, E, so this is the first one. SP. So this is C, this is C. It's actually before E. And then it's H, and then it's I, and then it's P, and then it's P. But is it spike or spiritual? Which is the latter? R versus K. K, A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R. Yeah. Q, R, S, T, U, V. So R is pretty late actually. Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. R is after S? What? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S. No, it's not. Okay, I'm an idiot. All right, I'm gonna start the recording. Sound goes down. Volume. Should we change locations and go into the Elf Song Tavern instead? No, we need space. We need space to demonstrate the spells. So let me do a quick save. No. I'm gonna level into 2 levels of wizard. Right? Because if I go wizard, that means that I can actually have access to all the spells. And then we'll also get 3 levels of druid. And then 3 levels of cleric. So now in theory, we are only missing the bard spells, right? So we are 3 to do. So we are at level 10. So we'll get level 3 sorcerer, level 3 wizard. And we'll only be missing the bard spells, which we will get on Will and his paladin. Oh, we should make Will a paladin ranger. Actually, rangers have the same spells as druids, so we don't actually have to go through them, right? At this point in the game. So all he needs is another level in bard. Like that, and then we'll be talking about the bard spells, if we have to talk about the bard spells. Which I only think it's enthrall and hit metal, right? Calm emotions, cloud of daggers. Hit metal and enthrall, right? Yes. Phantasmal Force. I think that's a wizard spell as well. And hit metal is also a druid spell. Whatever. He can't cast because he's wearing. Okay. Okay. So, one character, let's give him 5 levels of Paladin as well. And are we forgetting a class? Warlock? Do we need? Do Warlocks have any unique level 2 spells? No, right? No, they don't. They have Hadar, but they don't have level 2 spells. Okay. So level 5, do they have level 2 spells? No, they do. Yes. How is that possible? Shouldn't they get it at level 6? This is weird. They definitely backed it up a bit. Anyway. Okay. So, recording. Ready. Let's go. Hello guys and welcome. Today we're gonna be going through the tier list for Baldur's Gate 3 spells. So if you just wanna see the end result, skip to the point below. I'm gonna put a tag and let's get straight to it. So again, I wanna be talking a little bit about the tiers that we have. So anything that goes in godlike tier means that it breaks the game and it's just really strong by itself. It can carry entire encounters, it can carry your game essentially. Anything that goes in S tier means that it's really strong and you can make builds around it and it's gonna be very, very, very strong. A tier means that it's really useful and it's a good option to have. B, that it's an okay option. C is something that's probably very situational. D is something that's kind of bad and you're almost never gonna get a use out of it. And Garbaggio is something that you should never pick because it's, as the word suggests garbage. So yeah, let's get straight to it. First of all, we have the spell Aid. Now, the spell Aid is a cleric spell, which is one of my favorite cleric spells, to be honest. It's a really good spell to start on, as we're talking about it. What it does, it gives you and all the allies around you in a big radius, and keep in mind, guys, this also works on summons. So if I get some Dance Macabre minions out, and I just use 8, I also increase their HP. Also, this spell scales so very well because by every upcast that you make, everybody gets 5 additional hit points. Now, these hit points are not temporary. These hit points can be healed back up once gained. So this is a very unique way to buff your party. And it's free HP effectively. You should always have a cleric being able to do this. As you can see, yep, one of the best spells in the game. It helps make your characters really tanky, really strong, and if you can combine it with resistances, this breaks the game in my opinion. It can carry encounters, it can make you play like an idiot, and I like to play like an idiot sometimes, to just run at the enemy. And 8 has helped me be able to do that. It's liberated me from having to think a lot of the times, so I really like it. Up next we have Arcane Log. So, Arcane Log, let's look at the spell. Wizardon. Okay. So, Arcane Lock. Close a door or container with a magical lock. It can no longer be lockpicked or opened with knock. Now, what is cool about this is that you can use this during fights, and this will give you the option of being able to effectively close some enemies out of combat, and they have to break the door. And if the door is medium toughness, which effectively means that it has to take above 15 damage in order for the damage to count. It can actually waste a lot of the enemy's turns while isolating the enemy team. So it can work as a mini wall of force, if you would say. Which wall of force doesn't exist in the game, unfortunately. But yeah, in my opinion, it's a cool spell to have. Definitely, there are better spells, but it's definitely not a bad one. So in my opinion, we're gonna put it in the A tier because it's good. It's not always good, and it's a very unique thing what it does. It's like it's situational, yes, but when it works, it can be good, and it's fun to use spells in a creative way. So up next is Barkskin. Now Barkskin is a druid spell, and it increases the armor class of any creature up to 16. It is concentration, so while you can use this while shapeshifted, and you can use this on minions, they usually have more than 16 HP. The good ones, the minions that you want to have more than 16 armor class. So since they have more than 16 armor class, you kind of don't want to have this spell. And it's concentration, so it does nothing. It sets the armor class to very low, like you're never gonna have use of it. If you're playing properly, you don't need this. So for me, this is just a bad spell. It's a really bad spell. If it set it to 19 or 20, then I would like it. There would be some cool combinations with it, but with 16, it's just garbage. Then up next we have blindness. And blindness, or deafness, okay. Okay, actually, I'm gonna do something here because I don't wanna spend 10 hours covering everything. I'm just gonna learn all level 2 spells as a wizard, and then I'm just gonna be able to prepare them. Okay, so now effectively if I get a level in wizard, that should be good. Or almost good, right? Because we almost know everything. Yeah, I just need 2 levels in wizard. Spells. But what if I want to get a level in sorcerer? Do sorcerers have any special spells? Let's see. No, we know all of them, okay. We know all level 2 spells, so that we can talk about level 2 spells. Seems fair. Whatever, yeah, just boost something. Okay. Also, please equip the intellect thing. Since we are at it, right? Where is it? I miss playing the game, man. I want to play the game. Didn't... Okay. Okay. Perfect. Let's continue. So what were we talking about? Blindness. Okay, so blindness. Let's look at the spell. Is it not in the wizard spell list? Wow. Okay, here it is. So, blindness. A necromancy spell. Blind a creature. Attack rolls against it have advantage, and the foe attacks with disadvantage. This is a con save. Now, why do I like this spell? Before I start hitting on it. First of all, it has a pretty good range. 18 meters is a very good range. Now, you can also twin this spell, and that effectively means that you can target 2 enemies. And if you upcast it, you can target additional targets. So effectively, you can target a lot of enemies with this spell. And what I really like about it is that it doesn't take concentration. And when it doesn't take concentration and it lasts 10 turns, that is a really strong effect. I know it's a con save, and con saves are made quite easily because almost everything has above 10 constitution. And especially the enemies you want to blind that make attack rolls are characters like barbarians and fighters that have high constitution. So the effect is really good. It's not concentration, so it's definitely at least A tier. I would even consider S tier, but it just, while it does a lot, is not gonna, well, it could win you a fight really, but it's easily resisted, and there's other effects that can bypass this, right? Like darkness. So for me, it's A tier, and it's a pretty good spell. And if you can use that, then go ahead and do, please. So up next we have Blur, and while I like the concept of Blur, what I don't like about Blur is that, where is the spell? Yeah, let's just prepare a bunch of spells. So what I don't like about Blur is that it's concentration. I would rather concentrate, like we just saw, it has the same effect as blindness, but only for one member of your party. It also messes with your brain, and it can give you epilepsy if you're looking into it. So for me, just because it's concentration, it's not as good as you may think. I'd rather use the Cloak of Displacement. See if I have it on me. Yep. Which effectively does the same thing until you're hurt, and that's not gonna take your concentration away. Caster's concentration is really important to just throw away on things that do almost nothing and they just waste your turn. I'd rather take action dodge, to be honest. Here it is, dodge. It's the same thing. It's not in the game yet, but it will be in the game. This is a modded dodge. So for me, Blair is C tier, yeah, maybe even D tier. But let's put it in C tier because it can be useful under the right circumstances. Let's say that you force the enemies to focus one person and that person is blurred. It can be useful, it's just not as useful. Up next we have Branding Smite. Now let's go to our Paladin and look at our Branding Smite. So, Branding Smite possibly marks your target with light, preventing it from turning invisible. So, pretty useful spell, right? You are giving up a level 2 spell slot as a Paladin, and that means that you are giving up 3d8 of damage. And this takes your bonus action and its concentration. So, first of all, your concentration can break, so that's pretty sad. But also, you're losing out on damage. However, this, under the right circumstances, can save you fights where enemies turn invisible and then you can no longer see them, right? So it has a use, and it's probably a useful effect, right? You can. However, if you really think about it, there's a level 1 spell we covered in the previous video called Fairy Fire that does the same thing as an AoE effect, area of effect. So it targets an area instead of one target, and while it is concentration, it's a level 1 spell. So the 2d6 damage for a bonus action is okay. I would say it's a good ability to have on someone on your party to see invisibility or to break invisibility, etc. Well, there's also Volos Eye though that does the same thing, and it doesn't take away a spell slot from your Paladin that is used for damage. So just because of that, I'm just gonna have to not rate it really, really high. I'd probably go in the average tier, so somewhere around the B tier is where I would place it. Up next we have Calm Emotions. This goes straight in the garbage. It's so situational. You're not fighting barbarians all the time. This only works on barbarians, and it's not that great. Let's just look at the spell before I hate on it, I guess. Even though I am a little bit of a hater sometimes. Where is it? Okay, calm emotion. Yeah. Humanoids can be charmed, frightened, or become enraged. So charmed and frightened is a buff to give to your enemy. If you use it on yourself, you're using your action to give yourself a concentration about something that you might suffer from. This is so situational that it's never good to have, right? It's only good if it can break charm, but it doesn't. It says it can't be charmed, so it's not going to break a charm from the enemy. Also, if you're using it on a barbarian, why not just hold person him? It's the same save, right? No, actually, there is no save on the calm emotions. But why not just hold person the barbarian and then just keep him out of the fight? Like, there's no reason why you would want to calm emotions. It's really bad. Just don't pick this spell. It's garbage tier. Next, we have Cloud of Daggers, and that's one of my favorite damage spells in the game when it comes to level 2 spells. I like the effect so much. I mean, look at this, and this stays, and the AI is really bad at fighting against Clouds of Daggers, really. It looks beautiful, and you can just shove enemies into it with your bonus action, with your Barbarian, and they're gonna take damage. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, it did take damage. And then they might run through it again. And then you can just keep pushing them, and they take damage twice, and once you shove them through, and then when they run through it again. It's just a very cool, unique spell that lasts for 10 turns. It is concentration, but I love it. This is one of my favorite level 2 spells in the game. It's not gonna break the game though, but it's really good, and you can make builds around it. You can combo with your party members. I love it. I love this spell. Up next, we have Crown of Madness. So let's look at Crown of Madness. So level 2 enchantment. It targets wisdom, right? It's concentration, and it only lasts for 3 turns. You get to choose an enemy, a humanoid enemy, that's important, not just any enemy, making them attack the creature closest to them, other than you, even if it's allied. So that's actually pretty good. For me, this effect is rare in the game. You don't get a lot of these effects in the game. You're getting a lot of action economy if your enemy fails this. If they do save against it, though, it's really bad. Can you twin it? You can't twin it, so you can use 2 sorcery points to target 2 enemies, and then they just start attacking each other, right? You can take half the enemy team out. So this is a really cool spell to have. Can you also distance it? Yeah, and then you can just snipe any enemy you want. Wait, where is the range? I don't see the range. Oh, it goes really far if you distance it, yeah. So definitely a very cool spell to have. I like this. I like this a lot. Almost as much as I like 8 cast at a high level spell slot. So for me, this goes in the A tier. It could even be S tier if you really focus on that, but it's a little bit of an overstretch, really. Okay, up next is Darkness. Now, if you've watched any of the builds that I've made around Darkness, Darkness is really, really strong. The main reason why Darkness is strong, let's use it. The enemy AI will not dare walk inside Darkness. Darkness, how many turns is it for? 10 turns. And the enemy will not walk inside, and they cannot see, and therefore cannot attack enemies inside. So this works like fog cloud if you want to steal from vendors. It does blind you, but if you're using the ring, some items, let's say, there's a ring for sure, there's the Shard Spear, there's some helmets that allow you to see in the dark, in actual magical darkness, and there's also the Warlock Invocation. So what you can do is you can bring down darkness, and then you can walk outside, fire at the enemy, shoot at the enemy, and walk back in. And if you're using a ranged character, you can even do that without walking outside the darkness, right? And they can only hit enemies that are on the edge of darkness. So if you're standing in the center of it, it's really good. Now, this effect is amazing. However, it needs to be said that there are arrows of darkness. Am I broke? Okay. Right here. It's a pretty common item. With a bow to shoot it. Shoot. And this, if you're using a bow of darkness, you can get this effect for free. And you can do multiple attacks, so you're not missing out on attacks. So, and you don't have to concentrate, right? So the Arrow of Darkness is a better choice than Darkness. And this is the only reason why you might not consider putting it in the Godlike tier. However, the effect is so good that I'm going to put it... Oh no. Please, please, please. Okay. So, this is so good, I would consider... that I'm going to put it in S tier. And, of course, I managed to mess up the order. Who gave you the order? So now we have to reorganize this before we continue. Yay. Come on. Okay, let's see. What spells are we missing? Why? Why does this happen every time? Why do I have to click buttons that I'm not supposed to? Do you remember the order? Does anyone from the chat know the order? Can you roll back a little bit on the video? I don't want to have to do everything again. Okay, let me go back a little bit. I see stuff. Okay. Okay. We're gonna use this as a template to reorganize everything. So we were at darkness, so up next is dark vision. This sucks so much. But because of the way, because all the spells are here, this is really sucky. Wait, aren't there like Baldur's Gate tier list? Spells. Maybe we can find just level 2 spells. Spells, BG3 tier. Spells BG3. Okay, yeah, this is the one I have. BG3 third level. First level. Well, I like the concept that there is a third level one, really. I'm gonna use that. Isn't there second level? Yes. Why does this one have more spells than this one? Is it just that they are bigger? Yeah, I think it's just because they're bigger. Okay. Isn't there a second level tier list? Shouldn't there be? I mean, who did a level 3 tier list but didn't make a second level? Spells, Baldur's Gate. All spells, level 3. It shouldn't take that long to make, to be honest, right? It's okay. I'll just do it again. SMH. Okay. Sucks for me. So it was dark vision, then it was detect thoughts. Then it was enhance ability, then it was enlarged, then it was an elemental weapon. And then it was enthrall. Then you had flaming sphere and flaming sword. Sorry for this, guys. Let me pause the video and continue recording a bit. So that was part 1. So what else we have? What else we got? I see gust of wind. I see invisibility and no. Gust of wind, hit metal, hold person, invisibility. Hit metal, hold person. Hold person. Where is hit metal? It's in DF. Hit invisibilis. There's visibility, knock. Lesser restoration. Mirror image, misty step. Misty step, moonbeam. Pass without a trace. Mouse acid arrow. Sorry for these guys. I know I hate the delay as well. Magic weapon. Phantasmal force. Trust me, because I have to go in 50 minutes and I'm barely gonna have the recording ready, which is horrible. I can continue later tonight. We can do level 3 spells and the recording. So we did H. Yep, prayer of healing. Scorching ray. Searing smite, no. Protection from poison, right? Ray of enfeeblement. Resistance ray, sacred flame. Yep. Shatter through your limit. Canca thidare. Okay, wording is bound is next to create undead. And anything else? I feel like I've missed out on a few. See invisibility. Where is see invisibility? Here it is. I'm gonna put those two together. Spike growth, yes. And you see like what 1 second of not paying attention does to me? I hate this. Spiritual weapon. I should have done my own lists, to be fair. I should have added this by myself. But I wanted to save time and I've ended up wasting 10 times as much time. So, see invisibility, spike growth, spiritual weapon, warding bond, after shatter probably. Oh my god. Yes. And probably spike growth is somewhere around here. And I think I'm missing one. And it's web. Yeah. Did I forget anything? I guess we'll figure it out, because I do have another copy somewhere. Let me see what I'm using for comparison. And throw, yep. Okay, yeah, let's keep going and let's see if we forgot something. We'll add it at the end. Okay, so record again. Okay, I'm back. So let's continue with dark vision. Now, dark vision is something that you should foresee when you're making a character. So I think you need to know if you're gonna need dark vision, and you should make sure that you don't need dark vision. The good thing about it is it's not concentration. It lasts until long rest. Doesn't do much, doesn't look very cool, but what it does, it gives you dark vision until long rest for 12 meters, which is good in its own way, but you shouldn't need it, because you can use light, you can use daylight, maybe you can use light spells, you can use torches by just pressing this button right here, and then you get to equip your torch, and then you can see in the dark because it's no longer dark, right? So just because of that reason, for me, where is it? This is an okay spell. You can use it on Lae'zel maybe. Most of the characters do have dark vision. Generally, I feel like it's not that good of a spell, but because it can be useful, and when you need it, you really need it. And if you want to fight in the dark, you don't want to be using daylight. So fair enough. I'll give it a B tier for okay, but I wouldn't recommend going for it. Next, we have Detect Thoughts. And now Detect Thoughts is a very cool spell in its own. Why is that? Right? Because Detect Thoughts gives you the ability to read into people's minds. Now, it's not going to win you a combat encounter, but it can help you avoid one entirely. It's not going to make or break the game, but it's definitely something useful. However, there is a potion that does the exact same thing, and it doesn't require you to be concentrating on something. So you'd rather not use your spell slots to cast. But wait, is it a ritual? I think it's a ritual, right? Baldur's Gate 3 rituals. It's not a ritual. It is a ritual. So it doesn't take a spell slot to cast. So that's pretty cool. That actually makes it good. So Detect Thoughts doesn't take a spell slot. Again. So Detect Thoughts doesn't take a spell slot to cast. So that makes it actually pretty valuable. But it's concentration. So if you are concentrating on something else and then you want to cast Detect Thoughts during an encounter with or a talk with someone, then you're losing your concentration, which is not ideal. It's a net positive effect. It's a ritual. It's pretty good. It's not going to make or break your game. However, I do recommend picking this spell for lore reasons or just drink a potion of Detect Thoughts. So I'm going to put it in the B tier because it's useful. You're going to use it more than Dark Vision. Up next, we have Enhance Ability, and oh my god. Enhance Ability is one of the best abilities in the game. It's in the Cleric spell list. It's in the Wizard spell list. Is it in the Wizard spell list? It's in the Bard spell list. It's a very, very, very cool ability. And why so? Let me show you. So what this does... What? Why can't I cast this? What kind of sorcery is this? Oh, I know it with 2 characters, that's why. Okay, let's see. Okay. So what does it do? It has a lot of options, right? First of all. So one thing that it does is versatility. However, you're not going to be using it for temporary hit points. You're not going to be using it for, well, you can use it for strength, and this actually will allow you to pick up bodies that you wouldn't normally be able to pick up. And that's good if you're making a collection like I do in one of my runs. But what I really like about it, it's Cat's Grace and Eagle Splendor. So you use this whenever you're making a stealth check with your main character, right? Or with your stealthy character. You can give him Cat's Grace beforehand, and that will give him advantage on the dexterity checks. And if you can get a +10, +20, really, if you have Pass Without a Trace, if you have all the bonuses in the game, expertise on stealth or sleight of hand, and this can make it very easy for you to pickpocket every vendor without having to save scam all of your attempts. So this is really good. Also, Eagle Splendor is an amazing way to get advantage during encounters, and effectively, if you are ever in a position where you have to make an ability check, you can just use Enhance Ability to give yourself advantage. Yes, it costs a spell slot. Yes, it's concentration, but it opens so many pathways. For me, this is one of the best spells in the game. It gave me so much potential in the game. It goes in the godlike tier. Just by itself, it's so good. Always pick this. It will give you the option of doing whatever you want in the game. Up next, we have the Enlarge Reduce spell. And Enlarge Reduce, well, what it does, it allows you to either reduce something or someone into something really small that does less damage. This is a pretty cool way to sneak into areas where you're only supposed to be able to as a short character. Or alternatively, what you can do is you can enlarge an ally or yourself. And right now, please notice the weight of my character. He's 75 kilograms, right? This is a mod that allows me to carry more than necessary, more than I need, because I'm a hoarder. But you can enlarge yourself, right? So right now, what did my weight become? 205 kilograms. Now, what happens when I drink Elixir of the Colossus? Now I'm even bigger. And now I'm bigger than everybody here. Now, unfortunately, this does not stack with Balduran's Giant Slayer. Where is it? So let me just show you. Because if it did, it would be amazingly good. Right? So now my weight is 5,000 kilograms. And as you can see, if I use my action to go into the giant form, it's actually not gonna stack. I'm not gonna become any bigger. But my weight remains. Oh, wait, my weight changed by a bit now. So the weight change stacks. I didn't know that. Shit. So now I weigh 50,000 kilograms. Can you imagine what would happen if I turned into an owlbear? This is the biggest badger you've ever seen. But you could potentially turn into an owlbear. And do the John Cena move where, okay, is my weight still, wait, why did my weight get nerfed? Probably because, oh, I lost my concentration. Okay, that's okay. So again, very good way to increase your weight. It's not as good as Balduran's Giant Slayer. That will give you more weight, right? But again, it's really good. And you can also combine it with spells like Telekinesis, which is a level 5 spell. We're gonna cover it in the future. But you can throw somebody and they do damage depending on their weight. Heavier items deal more damage. So this can make you or your pet or whatever you're using, right, into a massive boulder bash. So there's really cool builds around it. I would have normally put it in the A tier, but just because of how fun this would be and the fact that you can make builds around it, I would say it's S tier. But if you're not doing the Telekinesis build or the John Cena Owlbear thing, is not as good. So it's A or B tier, B tier more likely in that scenario, but it's S tier if you go John Cena. So averages out on A tier, really, if you think about it. But I'm gonna keep it in S tier because you can build around it and it's really cool when you do so. Look at this. Anyway. Okay. So up next we have Elemental Weapon. Now, Elemental Weapon is a paladin spell. It's until long rest, but it is concentration. What I like about this spell is that for every 2 spell slots that you upcast it, it gets an additional +1. So what does it do, first of all? It gives your weapon a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls. Now, what that means is that if your weapon is already a +1 or a +2, and you use this, it makes it a +3. So as you can see, it's +2 +1. Here it is, +2 +1, right? And if you use a 4th level spell slot, then it becomes a +2 +2 or a +3 +2 if it was a legendary weapon. So yes, it's concentration, but giving yourself that extra 10% chance to hit if you use a level 4 spell slot or 5%, and that extra damage, which is very consistent, is really good. And if you're proficient with your saving throws on Constitution, then this can work really, really well. For me, this is a good spell, and you can use it in almost every build that you play that's melee, and if you have access to it, it's really good to have. It does take spell slots to be cast, so when you're doing a hybrid sorcerer paladin build, it shines even better, right? So this is a very strong ability in my opinion. And it's the best concentration spell for paladin. Up next we have Enthrall. Don't pick this spell. Garbage, straight in the garbage. What this does, it reduces a creature's peripheral vision and makes it look at you. She saved. Let's go again. Okay, so it failed. So is she looking at me right now? Not really. But even if it did, it's like, it's such a bad effect. Like, what is the reason of having somebody look at you? Like, you can just walk around it. I guess you can use it to manipulate guards. It's not concentration, but it feels like a waste of a spell slot. Just go invisible. Like, why not use invisibility if you're gonna do that? It's useless during combat. You're wasting your action. And outside of combat, invisibility is so much better. So no, it's trashed here for me. Then up next we have Flame Sword. Now, while Flame Sword is one of the coolest weapons in the game, it looks really, really, really good. What it doesn't do good is that you cannot give it to a party member. So druids don't get multi-attack. And if they cannot get multi-attack, then what is the reason of having Flame Sword? So conjure a Flaming Scimitar. Yes, it takes your bonus actions. It takes your bonus action. It just doesn't provide anything substantial, really. Let me show you. While the damage on it is good, right? It's 4d6 plus 1d4 here as a level 4 spell. It lasts 9 turns. You cannot throw it. You cannot send it to someone to one of your allies, you would have to be disarmed. Where is it now? Yeah, it effectively feels like a really bad spell. You have no control of this. Okay, you see, you cannot send it to your allies. So it has a very limited amount of time in which you can use it. It looks really cool. I have to give it that, right? And you can get a couple of them at the same time. So you can dual wield them. Where's the second one? Wait, does it say only one at a time? Can be on it, but has to stay on the spellcaster's person, yeah. So just because it has to stay on you, and you're a spellcaster, which can only do one attack per turn, right? You don't get extra attack. This is gonna get you outshined. You can try to make it work, maybe getting 3 levels of Thief Rogue, dual wielding them, spending your time to prepare for the action that you're gonna do. Yes, but the damage is gonna be outshined by a pure paladin level 5 getting to smite regularly. And this is fire damage, which is a bad element. In my opinion, this is pretty garbage, but it's not as bad as the rest. It can be useful, and you could make a build up around it if you really wanted to. So it's bad, but it's not that bad. He said after spending an eternity roasting it. Up next we have Flaming Sphere, and Flaming Sphere is one of my favorite, well, you could call it a summon, I guess, at this point in the game. Let me get one Flaming Sphere out. So when you upcast it, it deals an additional damage, which is pretty good. Yep, here it is. It starts with 2d6 damage, but it upcasts pretty well. But again, it does get outscaled down the line, right? You can turn off the fire if you want to, and you can ram it onto your allies, onto yourself. However, it is a concentration spell. As you see, we got hit once, we lost our concentration. There goes our ball of fire. We wasted that action. But when you get it at level 2, this is a reliable concentration damage. It's not as good as Cloud of Daggers, in my opinion, but it can also soak damage from enemies, right? And enemies that save still take half damage. So it's a reliable way of dealing damage. It's like having an additional ally. I would say it's at least A tier. It's not S tier because you cannot push people into it and have them take more damage like you can with Cloud of Daggers. But it's a pretty good spell. I like it. I will always pick it when I level up into an option where I can get it, because it's a fun way of playing, having that additional summon. Up next we have Gust of Wind, and while Gust of Wind is a pretty cool spell, it's just worse than Thunder Wave. And let's compare, right? So Thunder Wave, short area, can be used to push, yep, an enemy, and it's a Constitution save. Gust of Wind can be used to push enemies from farther away, but it doesn't do any damage, and it's a strength save. So it pretty much has the same effect as Thunder Wave. The people usually that you want to push, that are in your face, have a high strength. I guess a rogue on the top of a tower doesn't have a high strength, and you could abuse that in that way, but it doesn't do damage. It does give off the off-balance condition, but I don't think the off-balance condition is enough to put it in a high tier. So in my opinion, this spell is not good. Just use Thunder Wave, it takes a short, it does damage and pushes the enemy. Next we have Heat Metal and Hito Metaru. Metaru. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm losing my focus. Singing Baby Metal. So Heat Metal. Okay. So Heat Metal can cause a metal weapon or armor to grow red hot and force the wearer to let go or it can force the wearer to let go of a weapon or have disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. So if the creature is only wearing metal armor, it always receives disadvantage. If the creature is still touching the metal, you can use a bonus action to deal extra damage. So this is a concentration spell. It does damage, it debuffs the enemy, and they can't do anything about it. It is situational though, because it has to be an enemy that's holding a metal weapon or a metal armor. That's pretty common though. It's not like it's a rare thing, right? So in my opinion, is one really good spell. Whoa, what happened there? Is that the the entire inventory? Brewing ladle. Okay. Yeah, that happens sometimes when you use mods. So, pretty cool spell. Let's see it in action. Yep, the weapon dropped. She dropped her weapon. Now I can use my bonus actions to deal damage to her. But because she dropped her weapon, I actually can't. If she picks it back up, then I can. Then I'm gonna be able to. Oh my god, this broke the game. Yo. No, stop. Stop trying to load everything. Okay, let's walk away from that. So it goes in the A tier for me. It's not quite S tier, but it's really good. Up next we have Hold Person. And Hold Person, in my opinion, is one of the best spells in the game. Let's read the spell together, what it does. It's an enchantment spell, so if you have Mistra's Ring, you can actually cast an enchantment. You can cast Hold Person after making an attack roll, and then you can continue with your attack rolls, with your attacks. So this is actually really cool for a paladin, and some paladins get this spell. But it's also very strong because for other classes as well. Okay, so let's get to it. So hold an enemy still, they can't move, act, or react, so they blatantly just lose their turn. Attacks from within 3 meters are always critical. That means attack rolls, ranged attack rolls, and they are always made with advantage because the enemy is held still. It doesn't say it, but it is. It is concentration, but what is really, really good about this spell is that when you upcast it, you get to target additional targets per level. The reason it's so many times here is because I know it from 3 different classes. But yeah, so yeah, you can't use it on allies, but it's really good. And it's a very reliable way to set up for your paladin to do crazy amounts of damage. And generally, this is one of the best control spells in the game. There's a lot of humanoids to hold. And for me, this just wins some encounters and a lot of the encounters that you're going to have just by using this spell. You can upcast it, target many people together. You can heighten the spell and give everyone disadvantage. This is an amazing spell. It's godlike. If you play with this spell and you have melee people in your melee classes or people that have a lot of attack rolls and spells that can crit, this is an amazing spell to have. Up next is Invisibility, and Invisibility for me is God tier. The reason is that Invisibility, apart from being able to target more than just yourself, right? So you can use Invisibility, it's distance invisibility. See, you can even give invisibility to your allies from a distance. You see, you can make somebody invisible, and then they can hide, and the enemy has no chance of finding them, right? So you can use this out of combat, or you can even use it in combat to get that extra sneak damage or advantage on your first attack. However, this allows you to control the narrative of your exploration. This is not a strong combat spell unless you're trying to run away. But if you're not trying to run away, if you're just exploring, if you can have invisibility, that this will allow you to do things that you otherwise would not be able to, and make your game a lot more interesting. I love invisibility, how it was implemented in the game. I would have liked for greater invisibility to have been implemented better in the game. But invisibility as a level 2 spell is amazing. Up next we have Knock. Now, Knock is a level 2 wizard spell. Effectively what it does, it just unlocks something that is locked. This is a very good way to avoid having to pickpocket or lockpick something, but it does give a very strong sound which will make you think that the enemies are onto you. So if you use it, you can't use it while sneaking, let's say. Again, very cool spell, very unique, very niche. I just feels like it's much better to lockpick, especially if you have something like enhance ability and you have advantage on something. Unless it's something that is impossible to unlock, like it needs a 35 skill check, which is very possible, by the way, and you're on your own in that area, it's really not worth going for knock. So in my opinion, it's more of a C tier list, maybe B. It does have a use, but it's not that great. Up next, we have Lesser Restoration. So Lesser Restoration, cure a creature from disease, poison, paralysis, or blindness. Now, paralysis is a very strong ability. If your enemy is paralyzed, if your ally is paralyzed or blinded, this is a problem, especially if it's your main damage dealer. So this is actually quite useful. Disease and poison as well is something that you can use during some interactions with characters in the game. So I'm going to say that this spell is actually quite useful. It's more useful than you would think. So for me, it's an A tier spell. Let's look at it. Target is not blinded. So first we have to make him blind. Target can't be an ally. We're going to make Scratch blind. Sorry, Scratch. Guys, like the video if you want to pet Scratch afterwards. Okay, so he didn't like it. So poor Scratch is blinded. And since we're so nice, we can just walk up to him. Oh, he's no longer blind. He made the save. So unfortunately, we'll have to blind him again. No. Okay. Let's not troll too much. Sorry, Gumbo. Sorry. Your privacy has been lost. You're now exposed to the internet. Okay, so Lesser Restoration, pretty good spell. Everybody agrees. It's useful. Up next, we have Mirror Image. Now, the reason why I like Mirror Image... Oh my god, my game is lagging so much. Please. Should I change areas? I think I should. The reason it's lagging is because the components inside the barrel that shouldn't have been there have been exposed to the world. This is why you don't use mods while recording. Yes, please take me there. Other players, what? Okay, good. Whew. Okay, we're almost halfway through, right? Yeah, actually more than halfway through, almost done. Okay. Different camp, no chest, no bags. Perfect. So, up next we have mirror image. Now, mirror image is one of my go-to spells when it comes to defense with your action. It's an illusion spell. It allows you to create 3 duplicate replicas of yourself. So this is actually like Blur, but if Blur was good, effectively. It doesn't take concentration. Yes, it only lasts for 10 turns, but if you cast this before combat, then you don't need it during the turns, right? And as you can see, it boosts your armor class by a lot. So right now I'm not even wearing armor and I have 22 armor class. And if I was wearing armor, I would go up to 30 armor class, right? Now, it prevents damage from taken by yourself. Yes, the problem with this is that it takes an action, right? So if you're using your action to defend yourself, then you're not using your action to attack your enemy. However, you could also quicken this spell. It's a very good defensive option. I'm not going to say that it's the best option in the game, but it's definitely a good spell to have. And it can be very useful under the right situations. In my opinion, it's at least a B tier, maybe an A tier. I'll probably put it in B tier because it doesn't do any damage and it's just... Usually you don't want to use your big spells for defense unless you are in a really bad position. But yeah, B tier it is. Up next, we have Misty Step. And Misty Step is one of my favorite spells in the game. I think they overdid it a bit with the power that they gave it because, first of all, it allows you to blink into an area for 18 meters. Your movement during turn is not 18 meters, it's 10 meters. So they buffed this spell, right? They gave it a bigger range that it does have in the game, in the actual 5e rules. And you can use it to effectively teleport wherever you want with your bonus action and then cast whatever spell you want with your actions. So this spell is amazing. So I don't have an extra bonus action with this spell. Oh, it's because of the hard mode that I have on. Yeah. So as you can see, it's a very unique spell. It allows you to reach areas where you normally wouldn't be. So it's very cool when you're doing your exploration. It allows for your squishy wizard or druid or caster to escape if he's being surrounded by enemies or he's near an enemy without taking an opportunity attack, right? And they can go up to a really far distance and then they can use their movement and the enemy cannot reach them on the next turn. So in my opinion, is one of the best spells in the game. It changes the way that you play the game. So for me, it says tier, it's godlike tier. It's definitely one of the best spells you can have. Next, we have Moonbeam. Moonbeam is a druid spell, a purely druid spell. I don't know why, but the mechanics in the game with Moonbeam, the enemies really don't register it. It does 2d10 radiant damage. It's a concentration spell, and you can use your action to move it every turn. Scratch, don't go inside the Moonbeam, please. Also, if you like the video, we are going to pet Scratch, so like the video please, so that we can pet Scratch. Good job. Good boy, Scratch. So, Moonbeam. And it doesn't have an expiry date. So you can keep your Moonbeam and then use it again in the next fight and the fight after. No, actually, it only lasts 10 turns, sorry. So it only lasts 10 turns, but you can reposition it anytime you want. You can push enemies like you did with Cloud of Daggers. The damage is 2d10 instead of 4d4. It averages out to about the same damage, but the area is a little bit smaller, as you can see, than Cloud of Daggers. Still very good. Radiant damage is amazing, especially in Act 2. For me, this is an S tier spell. Up next, wait. Did we cover elemental weapon instead of magic weapon earlier? Oh no. I'm an idiot. Let's switch this. Okay, never mind. So magic weapon, we did talk about it. It's just, sorry, my mistake. It's not elemental weapon, it's magic weapon. Elemental weapon comes later. My bad. I confused them because they look, the spells look so similar. Up next, we have Melf's Acid Arrow. Now, Melf's Acid Arrow, it deals 4d4 acid plus 2d4 acid delayed. So it's 64 acid. It does have a saving throw, and it also creates a surface. Now, why would you use Melf's Acid Arrow if you can use Chromatic Orb? Is a really good question to ask, right? It does 64. Chromatic Orb upcasted on a level 2, if you go for Acid, it does 3d8. Same damage. Again, oh, the range, I guess the range is a little bit different, but they both create an acid surface. Yep. So why would you not just create an acid surface with Chromatic Orb, which is gonna last a bit longer, and it's just, I guess the only difference is that this will do half damage if the enemy, if you miss the enemy. But it cannot crit, right? So if it's a saving, no, actually it can crit. Yeah, just, it doesn't feel better than Chromatic Orb. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just that Chromatic Orb can also do other things, and it's a level 1 spell, so it's more versatile. So in my opinion, while it's a good spell to have, if you have Chromatic Orb, it's not that good. It's replaceable. So just because of that, it's a B tier. The effect, the damage is all right, but it's replaced by Chromatic Orb. So up next, we have Pass Without a Trace. And Pass Without a Trace is a, I think we can get it as a, You can get this as a ranger as well. You can get this as a monk. You can also get it as a trickster cleric. Might have to get some levels in that. Maybe if we level up the bard, we can get it. Nope. Cleric, trickery domain. All right, so Pass Without a Trace. Why do I like this spell, first of all? Because I do like this spell a lot. This spell is AoE, right? So you cast this and it affects everyone around your character. So everyone who's near you, which effectively is your party while sneaking, is gonna get a +10 bonus to their stealth check. All their stealth checks. So this is really, really good, especially if you're playing a sneak build, right? And the fact that you can get a +10 on a rogue, right? You can use this on your rogue. And there's a ring that casts this spell as well, right? So it doesn't have to get 3 levels in cleric or shadow monk levels, etc. This can make your stealth check, if you have expertise in it, and some good bonuses from items, which there are items that give you a lot of bonuses on stealth, really, really high, to the point where you can be in the face of the enemy and they're not going to be able to see you. So I've actually used Pass Without a Trace in my build of Eldritch Blast Warlock Assassin build, in the Eldritch Warlock Assassin build. This is really cool. This is one of my favorite sneak spells, and I definitely like it. I like playing it in D&D, and I like playing it in Baldur's Gate 3. So this is really good for me. Up next we have Phantasmal Force. Now, Phantasmal Force, let's see. It was done dirty in Baldur's Gate 3. We have to say that. It really was done dirty in Baldur's Gate 3. So what it does, it deals 1d6 damage to a creature each turn. Its concentration. It is an intelligence saving throw and it does psychic damage. I would say psychic damage is not as effective in this game as it normally is. Intelligence saves are actually a little bit bad because you're fighting Githyanki, you're fighting Mind Flayers. So, in my opinion, Phantasmal Force is really bad in this game. What is good about it usually is that it acts like an upgraded version of Minor Illusion, right? So that's how you use it in regular D&D, but it also does damage. Here it just feels like an underwhelming version of it. For me, this is a D tier spell. It does a little bit of damage. It's better than Enthrall and Calm Emotions, but it's still pretty bad. And it's concentration, right? Consider this, like, you could be doing 4d4 damage and you're doing 1d6 with a save, right? No, it's a big no-no. Up next we have Prayer of Healing. And to be honest, Prayer of Healing is one of the spells that I actually like, but I don't think are that good. So I like this spell a lot, but I just don't feel like it's that good. Why? Because while it heals your allies, it's using your resources. And usually your spell slots are gonna run out before your HP. Well, not always. But there's a lot of potions in the game. You're using your second level spell slot to do a little bit of healing. You cannot even use it during combat, right? Can only be used outside of combat. So while I definitely like the effect and I have been using it in the past, I don't feel like it's something that I want to be, let's say, associated with as much. It does feel like you're wasting your resources, and it's because it is D tier. Protection from poison. Okay, now protection from poison is one of those spells that if you think about it beforehand and you prepare it and you are concentrating on it, it can really help you. In some situations, it neutralizes poisons from affecting something. It grants protection against poisonous influences. It gives you advantage against being poisoned and resistance to poison damage. It's pretty good. There's some areas in the game where you are gonna be needing some protection from poison. Well, not needing. You could be benefiting from it, but again, it's not a necessity. You're wasting a spell slot to have this prepared. The good thing is that it's in the Druid spell list, Cleric spell list, and you can just prepare it whenever you need it. Again, though, it's concentration, it just doesn't feel as strong. In my opinion, I wouldn't say it's useless, it's definitely situational. Probably put it in the B or C tier, maybe C tier in my opinion. I originally was gonna rank it higher, but just feels a bit off. I'm trying to think if there's a specific area in the game where it's mainly focused on poison damage. And yeah, it's okay. It's an okay spell. It's not horrible. Up next is Ray of Enfeeblement, and weaken a foe, they deal half damage with weapon attacks using strength. Now, what is the issue with this spell, right? So you could make an attack roll to get it to land this attack roll on an enemy, right? And it has a pretty good range, right? They will only do half damage, but they get to make a con save every consequent turn to save against this. So first of all, creatures that have high strength or very often have high con as well, very high constitution. So they're going to get out of this effect very easily. Now, the alternative would have been to use a hold person spell and get them to lose their action completely, right? In this way, you just get them to do half damage in one turn. Maybe two if you're lucky. In my opinion, it's just not a good spell. It's definitely worse than Hold Person. They share a lot of the same spell lists. I'd rather you blind the enemy so that they miss completely, or Crown of Madness the enemy. It just doesn't feel good. Or like hit metal or command them to drop their weapon. Anything is better than this. So it's an okay spell. Maybe I'm a little bit, maybe I'm a bit strict with it, but I do feel like it's pretty weak. And then up next we have See Invisibility, and See Invisibility, it's actually a pretty unique spell, is what I'm gonna say. You can get it permanently for free if you have an interaction with Volo, or some interactions with Volo. Well, even one interaction, you can steal it off of it. While, again, when you need to see an invisible creature, it's actually pretty useful. It doesn't upcast, it doesn't scale. You can't have two effects active at the same time. It's a little bit weird. So maybe if it stacks, it's kind of good because it really helps. You can really see invisible creatures because they do. It does have a save in the game for some reason. If you're trying to see an enemy, an invisible enemy, it does last until long rest. So if you know you're gonna have an encounter, you can prepare for it, which kind of makes it better, right? Because if I can plan ahead, if I've fought that enemy and lost, now I can go back and prepare with See Invisibility, and this time he's not gonna hide from me. Sure, I get how you would use it that way, but having it prepared on the off chance that you're gonna fight somebody that might turn invisible, I'd rather you just use Fairy Fire. That's also gonna give you advantage. In my opinion, it's just like Dark Vision. It's not that great. It's something that sometimes you're gonna want or could use. You could also throw a flask on fire on the floor or where you think the enemy is and flash them out. And it's actually much more fun to do, but it can also be annoying. So it's not a necessity. Maybe it's even lower than Dark Vision because it's much rarer that you're gonna need it. But it's an okay spell to have. Up next we have Scorching Ray, and I kind of like Scorching Ray a lot. Yes. Yeah. So Scorching Ray, pretty good. I'm sorry, guys, if somebody's knocking on my door, give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. Sorry, guys, I'm back. Food was here. So Scorching Ray. So what I like about Scorching Ray is that it does pretty good damage, and it works really well with spells like Haste, and not Haste, Hex, and Damage Carriers, right? Because it does fire damage, and there's stuff, and it's really good at proccing Damage Carriers, like Haste. I'm not sure if it works with Sneak Attack out of combat anymore, but it could be a really fun way of playing the game if that wasn't removed, because I think it was removed in the latest patch, on patch 4. But if it wasn't, then it's actually pretty good. Again, it's a good spell to have. It does a lot of fire damage. Fire damage is not the best type in the game. It can crit, every one of those raids can crit. 66 damage is very good at this point in the game. It gets an additional 2d8 per, an additional ray effectively per upcast. So it scales pretty well. It scales better than Fireball, right? But it's single target damage, unless you spread it. So pretty good, not horrible. Let's just test it out for, and can we draw something with it? Pretty neat. I like this spell. Visually, it's just really, really good. For me, it would go in the S tier because of the amount of damage that it does, because it's really good for burst. If you really think about it, it does a lot more damage than all of this. And finally, we have, well, it's not finally actually. Up next, we have Shatter, which does 3d8 damage. It breaks everything that you throw in it, that you cast it on. 3d8 is pretty good for this point in the game. The area of effect is pretty big. It's very close to the fireball radius, really, if you think about it. Not as big, but definitely very good. And it's a constitution save, and it does thunder damage. Thunder damage is very good because you can amplify it with a lot of subclasses, right? And a lot of items in the game will help you with boosting that type of damage. So in my opinion, it's one of the better spells. I'll definitely put it in the A tier because it's not as consistent as Cloud of Daggers. They do very similar damage. It does a little bit more, but it's only once, whereas Cloud of Daggers is very consistent with what it's doing. I would say it does compete with the S tier spells though, especially if you can get more than 3 people in it, right? And then up next we have Spiritual Weapon. And Spiritual Weapon is probably my favorite summon from this level. Why is that the case? Well, effectively what Spiritual Summon can do is you summon a weapon of your choice. There's a few options. It doesn't really make a difference on what the weapon does. Which, while it does have a very small number of movement speed, right? It's not concentration. It rolls for pretty good force damage, if you ask me. So why is this doing bludgeoning and force damage? Let's recast it. Maybe it actually does make a difference which way you cast it. Yep, okay. And it's a very reliable way of getting extra bonus action damage. Like, you use a bonus action and then you have free damage every turn. The enemy will try to run from it, but if they do decide to attack it, it has resistance and immunities to almost every type of damage in the game. So it's really hard for the enemy to hit it. And it upcasts really well. If you use a hard spell slot, it gains 8 additional hit points and 1d8 extra damage. So if you use a 6th level spell slot, it's going to be doing 3d8 plus 4 or plus your wisdom modifier, really. And it's going to have 36 HP, which is going to be effectively doubled because it has resistance to almost everything. So 72 effective HP. Very useful, does good damage. It lasts for 10 turns. It's only a bonus action. Really useful in my opinion. One of the best damaging spells in the game. Scales very well. For me, it's S tier. Don't try to change my mind. Up next, we have Spike Growth. I'm actually going to leave it last because it's going to kill Scratch if I go for that. And then we're going into combat. Let me save, actually. So, up next, we have Wild Growth. Let me make sure that... Can you guys actually hear me, right? Oh, are we dropping frames? Oh no, we're dropping a lot of frames. Oh no, why did nobody tell me? So sorry guys. Let me see if I can fix that. Nobody tell me. Okay. At least you can hear me properly. Okay, let's see. Spike growth. Look at this. Look at this gorgeousness of spikes. It is concentration, but for every 1.5 meters somebody moves in it, they take damage. Look at this. If somebody tries to run through this, they're gonna die. And I'm making the saves, right? And it really helps protect you from an area, right? Look at all of that area, right? Being covered. An enemy coming from that way would really have to walk through this, right? Can cover a big area of the map. It doesn't grant additional benefits when you upcast it. But again, it's a very big area. It's really useful for controlling the battleground. It is, however, vulnerable to fire damage. Maybe not this type of fire damage. Wait a minute. Oh, they're both concentration. Anyway, so very cool way to control the battlefield. In my opinion, is one of the best spells in this tier list, especially for the druid spell list. Oh my god, if I get the option, I'll get this spell every time. So for me, it's at least A tier. I would also consider putting it an S or godlike tier. My problem with putting it in godlike tier is that people can jump like half the distance when outside it, or they can jump around it, so you have to be careful when positioning it, but it can really win you encounters, so I think it deserves a spot up there. Finally, we have Warding Bond, and it's actually not finally. So Warding Bond is another spell there exists. It's effectively allows you, the caster, and an ally to be bonded. They both get resistance to, actually only the ally gets resistance to all damage, but that's because you're taking the other half. So you're taking the same amount of damage as them. So the net damage is the same, but they do get +1 to armor class and saving throws. Now, this spell is actually not bad because it allows you to effectively spread the damage in your party, right? But your cleric is going to get a lot of damage if you do this. So you're going to need a life cleric to be able to do preserve life, which is on your healing, and get those abilities that actually boost. Where is it? Anyway, so a life cleric is actually better when using that spell, but there is this one thing you can do. If you get Gale has some sort of effect on him that he auto heals whenever he takes damage. Let me show you what I mean. Please don't die. Shit. Of course he died. What did I think was gonna happen, right? So let's see if we can damage him just a little bit. So you see he has this thing where he can auto heal. So if you keep him at your camp and then he casts that on you and then you dismiss him, he's just gonna keep healing that damage. So you're gonna be taking half damage and he's gonna be healing it, so he's not gonna die. If anybody else from your camp is respecting to that and tries to do it, he's just gonna die from the damage. But Gale will keep healing himself and you're gonna be fine. So if you're using the Gale cheese, then it's godlike. But if you look at it from a regular point of view, it's A, maybe even B tier, because you're spreading the damage in the team. So the cheese potential is godlike, but regularly it's just B tier, in my opinion. And finally, we have Web. Now, again, this spell doesn't scale very well. Web is actually a pretty cool effect. it makes your enemies that are webbed, or yourself, if anybody's webbed, they are in difficult terrain, so their movement speed is halved, and if they fail their save, they are stuck in the web and they cannot move. That's pretty good way of crowd controlling the enemy. However, just with one little bit of fire damage, the web goes away, so it's prone to fire damage. But I will say it's a very neat way to control the battlefield, and it's a very strong level 2 spell in my opinion. So I do like it, and there's some boots that you can use with it. So you can use web and give those boots to your barbarian or your fighter that's in the face of the enemy, so he's not imposed by it. Or you can lock a part of the enemy team with web and then focus on another part and then just focus on killing the other people that are not webbed. So pretty cool spell, useful, crowd control. It is a little bit replaceable. For me, it's in A tier. You would even consider putting it in S tier, but maybe at this point in the game it's S tier. But I feel like it's more of an A tier if I really have to be honest about it, because spike growth is also a spell and it does damage as well. It's a bigger area and it also slows enemies. So it's a little bit better than web. Actually, much better than web. So yeah, this is the list, guys. Let me know if you agree with something, if you disagree with something. This is the list, guys. Let me know if you disagree with something, if you agree with it, if you like it, what you think about it. And yeah, I'm gonna have to turn off the stream now. Thank you for watching, and yeah, excited to talk about the level 3 spells on the next live stream. Have a good one, guys.